We've not been back in D.C. for a full 24 hours, and the immigration shenanigans have already begun. Republicans, even a few unhelpful Democrats, have been saying the president should not take executive action on immigration and should not act yet, as if his intention to use his executive power under existing law is a surprise. David Axelrod, safe in the confines of the University of Chicago, has no sense of urgency because none of his family members or neighbors are facing deportation. But it's a little different on my side of Chicago, where people live in nearly constant fear that a loved one or a friend will be detained and then strapped into an airplane for deportation. My Chicagoans have been waiting for the Congress to act and take action for over a decade. Polish, Ukrainian, Irish, and Mexican have been waiting. Jamaicans and Filipinos. They've been waiting for family members to get visas and backlogs that stretch to 20 years because Congress refuses to act. And they've been heartbroken by laws that say, on the one hand, they can apply for a green card because they are married to a U.S. citizen, but on the other hand, they must wait in exile outside the country, away from their husband or wife, their loved one, for 10 years in order to get that green card. 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 deportations a year. These statistics represent people disappearing from their churches, from their kitchen tables, from parent-teacher conferences. Why? Because Congress is doing nothing to make it stop or make any progress towards an immigration system based in reality and common sense, where people come legally with visas rather than smugglers. Now the GOP conference in the House is saying after a decade of delay, a decade of defying the American people, and a decade of demonizing immigrants, that they are so anxious to work on immigration reform. But there's just one thing stopping them: the president. The one thing preventing Republicans from taking action, they say, is that the president may also take action to keep families together and address the destructive nature of deportation. But here's how one commentator in Atlantic magazine described it. Quote, Boehner's effort to hold congressional immigration reform hostage if Obama acts unilaterally is so absurd. Boehner killed the hostage long ago. Now he's hoping that if he pretends it's still alive, no one will notice the corpse lying on the floor, end quote. To put it another way, it's a little late for the mayor of Chernobyl to say he's worried about someone poisoning the well. The president stood right there and said that if this Congress fails to act on important national priorities, he will use his pen and phone within current law to do so. Republicans heard him just as well as I did. Republicans had more than 2 years to draft the bill and a year to schedule a vote on the Senate bill, and I do not see one scheduled today, tomorrow, or next week. And I doubt before this Congress expires will we see a bill scheduled. Let's just look at the record. Republicans said we can't do immigration unless it's done piecemeal, or we can't do immigration unless people are denied citizenship, or we need more border security spending, or we need a parole officer assigned to each immigrant who gets to stay and work. And every Democrat from the President of the United States on down, all the way to me, said yes, yes, and yes. Compromise and progress are more important than gridlock and making every Democratic constituency happy. Governing means when Democrats say yes to Republican demands, Republicans actually move forward and we work together. But none of that happened despite the door being open, the table being set, and Democrats saying, in effect, Republicans can order anything off the menu. And yet, here we are with no action, no vote, and the Republicans threatening to double down on no action if the president, acting within the letter and spirit of the laws passed by this Congress, takes action to help the nation. The president will act as he should, boldly, broadly, and soon to help people. And when he acts, tens of millions of our fellow American citizens will support him. Why? Because they care more about justice and practicality than they do about partisan politics and the blame game. Because a policy based on driving out 10 million immigrants is neither a sensible one nor one that we should be spending billions of dollars. The president will act because presidents before him have acted to solve immigration problems when Congress acted too slowly. The president will act because he believes, as the American people do, that families are more important and children should be raised without the government coming along and ripping their mommy and daddy away from them. I'm tired of manufactured excuses for inaction. The U.S. Congress can still debate, vote, and pass an immigration law if it wants to, and the best way to get it done will be if leaders on both sides of the aisle work together. If you don't like it, then do something. There is nothing in your way but yourself.